Nathan Rao's in the studio because, of course, we're talking weather today.
Yeah.
Storm Goretti, red weather warnings, lots of snow up and down the country. I'm very pleased you're here, Stephen, because I was very worried that you were going to get snowed in.
Well, I thought I might have got snowed in, but there was no snow at all this morning.
So you managed to get away with it?
Managed to get away with it. If there's actually any snow where you are today, drop us an email rather than you'll say, with any pictures you've got, gbviews@gbnews.uk. We'd love to see them. But it has been bad for a lot of people, quite a lot of snow, 100-mile-an-hour winds as well in some places.
Yeah, and red weather warnings as well across the country. We were just hearing, weren't we, from Will Godley, saying that there was a number, I think it was about 25 centimetres worth of snow in Wales.
Yeah, and loads of, tens of thousands of households without power as well. Should we check in with Will now, who is in Wales? Morning, Will. What's it like there?
Has stopped at the moment, Stephen, Ellie, but it's not falling now, but there is plenty on the ground here. It's on top of my boots. My boots are under the snow line. There's about 25 centimetres or so. In fact, when I press down on the snow, I'm not touching the ground, I'm just crushing the snow. I'm standing on more snow. That's how much snow there is, which started about 6 p.m. here last night. And even as we were driving here yesterday, that snow falling throughout parts of the Midlands as well, causing very difficult driving conditions. In fact, the National Highways issued an amber warning on the roads, and as we were on the motorways, many of the drivers, like us, reduced our speeds to some 20 miles an hour, crawling along these motorways as the snow was really coming down very, very heavily. And as we crossed into Wales, many of the roads we found weren't gritted, and so causing real difficulties for a number of drivers getting stuck in the snow. A number of communities we were passing were helping each other out in the snow as cars were getting stuck, pushing cars as to get them going again, really struggling on not only deep snow but also ice on the roads as well. And in fact, you might be able to see behind me our footprints, because where I'm standing now, we didn't manage to drive to fully where we are here today, last night even. We had to park the car a mile or so away and make the final bit of the journey to where we are now on foot, because the roads simply were that bad, totally impassable, the snow higher than where the tyres and the bonnet lies. And so simply we just had to leave the car there, and a number of other drivers will have experienced that last night, and also will be finding that this morning as snowfall has fallen across not only Wales but the Midlands, Yorkshire as well, and so travel conditions difficult on the roads. Also on the rails today, I can tell you that train lines affected, including between Manchester and Sheffield. Also a number of other train lines impacted as well, including Great Western Railway, Avanti West Coast, Chiltern Railways, Cross Country, East Midlands Railway, Northern, TransPennine and Transport for Wales, all affected today. So if you're planning a journey on the rails, best to check before you travel. If you're on the roads as well, likely to be some disruption. Also some airports closed today as well. Birmingham and East Midlands airports closed as well. But from here, the storm seems to have passed at the moment. Left with it, though, a lot of snow.
Okay, Will Godley there for us in Newton in Wales. Thank you very much. Do try and stay warm if you can, Will. Go get yourself a nice cup of tea.
There's nowhere to go. He's in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, let's
maybe in a flask or something.
Let's check in with Nathan Rao, who's here. Nathan, so, I mean, what can we expect for the rest of the day and indeed overnight? Yeah,
well, thankfully, Storm Goretti is going to ease through today, but last night was really when this storm whipped into the southwest coast. A red weather warning, as you will undoubtedly have heard, was issued by the Met Office. That is the highest level of warning they can issue. They don't issue them lightly. And record winds were recorded in the Isle of Wight, 100 mile per hour, 99 around 100 mile per hour, which is the strongest there. So this is a really strong storm that hit, last night. Thankfully, as I said, it's going to ease through today. Weather warnings are still in force across the south of the country, across the Midlands for snow, across Scotland for snow, as that storm moves along the south coast of England, out into the east, and winds will die down through today. But a lot of places this morning are waking up to scenes of disruption, closed schools, traffic disruption, damage to buildings, power cuts, all that sort of thing that you'd associate with a very severe autumn storm.
Yeah, I mean, Storm Goretti has been described as a weather bomb. What does that mean?
Yeah, now a weather bomb is actually a technical meteorological term. It is another word for explosive cyclogenesis, and what that means is when a low pressure...
That sounds better.
It's great, isn't it? Explosive cyclogenesis. When a low pressure system, which is what all of these storms are, low pressure systems, sometimes they hitch a ride onto the jet stream, and that causes them to strengthen very, very quickly. And in order to have a weather bomb, you need to have a drop of 24 millibars over 24 hours in the central point of that low pressure system. And that's what happened last night. In fact, I think it dropped around 30 millibars over a very short amount of time, and that causes what's called a weather bomb. I think it's more of a media term, actually. We love them in the media. But it is a meteorological term that describes a very, very strong and powerful storm. Another one, actually, was the 1987 Great Storm. That was a weather bomb, intensified very, very rapidly and caused some very, very strong winds and a lot of damage.
All right, Nathan, I'll be checking with you all morning this morning, but for now, thanks very much indeed.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code and account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just living credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Let's start off with some of your pictures this morning, and your videos, actually, because we've been asking what it's like where you are weather-wise.
Yep, John sent this one in from Leicester and says, "Morning, Stephen and Ellie. Make sure you keep warm."
Seems like there's a decent covering there over your back garden, John.
Yeah, there is. It's still coming down, isn't it?
It is. We've had this from Julie, showing the snowy streets where she lives.
There's a blanket of snow wherever Julie is.
I'm not sure where you are, Julie, but it's
Norway?
a lot of snow down there. It does look like Norway, doesn't it?
Kathy's written in to say, "We've had deep snow and winds up here in Scotland for 9 days. This morning it was -10 and the schools are closed. Pavements and roads obviously disrupted as well. Thanks mainly to our farmers," she says. "They have cleared the roads for us. Nowhere to put the snow for now. We just have to walk in the road."
Yeah, and Jess is in Guernsey. She's watching GB News currently online because her satellite dish disappeared with 67 trees blocking major roads over there.
Yeah, and there has been a major situation in Guernsey and Jersey overnight, hasn't there? It's been really bad there.
Well, it is our main story this morning because, really, Goretti has left a trail of destruction overnight.
Yes, an amber alert for snow remains in place for large parts of Wales, the Midlands and Yorkshire.
And thousands of homes, tens of thousands, have lost power. Many schools and offices are staying shut today as well. well.
Well, GB News national reporter Will Godley joins us now in Wales. Morning to you, Will, and you've woken up to lots of snow.
Certainly have, yeah, lots and lots of snow here in Wales. Good morning to both of you. And for some homes in Wales and also elsewhere across the country, power has resumed after it being out last night, but for many homes still without power. Over 40,000 homes still without power, according to the National Grid, of course, as winds peaked at nearly 100 miles an hour off the south coast in the Isles of Scilly last night. And in Cornwall, lots of that high winds caused destruction. As you talked about, Stephen, many roads today closed as trees have fallen over and blocking the roads. Authorities saying this morning that they are working to move those trees and get roads in Cornwall reopened. But if you're driving elsewhere in the country, particularly here in Wales and in the Midlands, you might also be impacted because not from the wind, but the snowfall. In fact, in the Midlands, they're warning of the worst snowfall in a decade, and certainly a lot of snow here in Wales. Just take a look at this table. You can see the amount of snow that has fallen overnight, some 25 centimetres or so of snow here. This is all on the ground. This is frozen. In fact, it's so deep it's over my boots. I can feel some of the snow getting into my socks. That's just how much snow there is here. And in fact, a car parked behind me has a foot of snow on top of it. And the snow has now stopped falling here in Wales, but driving here last night through the Midlands, through Wales, really was quite challenging through the early parts of Storm Goretti as that snow began to fall very, very heavily throughout the Midlands. Many drivers on the motorways, as we did ourselves, reducing their speed to some 20 miles an hour, so crawling through the country as battling through the snowfall. And many roads we found weren't gritted. And driving through Wales, many communities were out and about in the storm, helping drivers who were getting stuck in the snow and on ice, unable to get the grip they needed to move their cars. And these communities out and about helping drivers. I've got to say a special thank you to a man called Mark from the National Grid who helped us out when our car got stuck slipping on the ice. And in fact, you might be able to see some of our footprints. That is because we were having to make the final mile of our journey to where we are now on foot last night because the snow was so bad it simply was impassable for us to drive. And so many further travel disruptions expected today on the roads throughout the Midlands, Yorkshire and Wales. But if you're thinking about getting a train, you're also likely to be disrupted there as well. Avanti West Coast saying do not travel until at least 3 p.m. Trains in Cornwall, many are not running today as well after that red danger to life weather warning yesterday. A number of other train lines also facing disruption, and the line between Sheffield and Manchester is closed. If you're wanting to get a flight, that's also facing some disruption today as well, particularly Birmingham Airport. They're working to reopen the airport, but at the moment remains closed. In the last few minutes, though, East Midlands Airport has reopened, but a number of travel disruptions expected throughout the day. And as everyone's waking up to the snow, no doubt a number of schools closed as well.
OK, Will, thank you very much for braving the snow for us there in Wales.
Let's talk to weather journalist Nathan Rao. Nathan, good morning to you. Have we seen the worst of it now?
I think we probably have seen the worst of Storm Goretti, which was due to smash in last night. That's when that red weather warning from the Met Office was in place. It's going to move across the south coast through today, and the winds will gradually ease, although, as you have mentioned, there are still weather warnings in force for wind, for rain and for snow. As your caller Kathy mentioned earlier, that's snow in Scotland, the 10th day they're on, and they're going to get more of it today. That's not so much associated with Storm Goretti, that's with the cold air that's over at the moment. But in terms of Storm Goretti and those winds and that heavy rain that we've seen that's caused disruption this morning with school closures and traffic disruption, damage to buildings, that is going to ease through today, thankfully. But quite a powerful punch that has packed over the last 12 hours.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a red weather warning down in the southwest of the country. We don't hear about many of those, do we?
No, a red weather warning is, as you'd imagine, the highest tier of weather warnings. The Met Office issue the weather warnings because of the impact the weather is likely to have. So, for example, if you had a 100-mile-per-hour gust off mountains in Scotland, they're not likely to issue a red weather warning. But because this storm came into the southwest, right across into Cornwall, with those very, very strong winds, it was deemed enough to issue that red weather warning. About once a year, I tend to find myself seeing weather warnings.
They are quite rare.
Yeah. There have been some storms. Storm Eunice, if you remember, from 2022, the one that ripped the roof off the O2 in London, that had a red weather warning. And last year, Storm Eowyn, if you remember, 135 mile per hour, that had a red warning. But they don't issue them lightly. So very, very impactful weather we have had, and that's what the warning was in place for.
It's interesting because we talk about the snow an awful lot. We see Brighton behind you, these live pictures, and it's the wind and the waves that are the problem there, looking at it.
Yeah, and those gusts can be very strong. There's the wind strength and the gust strength, and as you can see the camera wobbling around, there's probably hitting some very high gust strengths. Certainly you mentioned the coasts. The weather warnings along the coast are particularly pertinent because there are going to be some very high waves, some very choppy weather around there. So if you are living in those sorts of areas, keep an eye on the warnings. Don't go walking along coastal routes and things when those waves are really overtopping, because it can be dangerous. Until this storm passes through today and into tonight, when it's going to turn calmer for tomorrow.
That'll be nice. Thanks, Nathan. Got some calm to look forward to over the weekend.
That'll be nice. But it's all calm but cold.
Calm but cold tomorrow, yes. But something milder on the way.
Oh, right.
Got to keep your puffer jackets on.
All right, loads of you getting in touch with your pictures this morning. Let's head to the West Midlands and Jen. Morning, Jen. Have we got the picture of Jen Street? Oh, we haven't got Jen's picture.
That's helpful, but we can imagine there's lots of snow in the West Midlands.
Yes.
Just imagine a blanket of snow.
Imagine, picture
Phil,
it.
have we got Phil's picture? Yes, this is Phil's picture. He sent this in saying there's heavy snow overnight and now sleet, so it's melting fast. Also, it won't last long then, that snow.
No.
Doesn't look beautiful, though.
Rubery, near Birmingham. And this is what Kirsty woke up to. There you go. That actually looks pretty deep, has to be said.
Yeah. Some of you sending in a very different view this morning. Here's one from Chris and Vicky.
Wow.
Oh, Chris and Vicky, who say it's another day of 24-degree blue sky and sunshine in Gran Canaria for them. Lucky you, Chris and Vicky.
Lucky you.
We all wish we were there with you.
Looks beautiful. All right, well, let's find out what is happening here in the UK. Met Office presenter Alex Deakin joins us now. Alex, good morning. What's ahead this next 24 hours or so?
Morning. Things are calming down, thankfully. Those dangerous, damaging gusts of wind across Cornwall and the Isles of Scilly that we had yesterday evening, they've eased away. And the snow is now starting to ease. But Storm Goretti is still causing some problems this morning over parts of eastern England in particular. Still a mixture of rain, sleet, and still some snow coming in from Lincolnshire down towards the London area. That is gradually going to clear away, but it's going to bring a pretty grim day. So it's going to be cold and wet and windy across eastern England. The snow, as we've been hearing, is easing now over the West Midlands and Wales. But of course, it is still lying around. It'll take a while for that to clear away. So that is causing some disruption. So we've still got the amber warning in place until 8 o'clock this morning. And there are still many yellow weather warnings in place through the day. It's still pretty icy across Scotland, Northern Ireland, for example. So we're not completely out of the woods, but things are calming down, certainly in terms of Storm Goretti. That'll gradually clear through the day today. Overnight tonight, again, everything could freeze up. So again, the potential for ice. But actually, tomorrow's a decent day for most places. It'll be dry, it'll be bright. It's not going to be warm. It's not going to be Gran Canaria, but it's going to be, fine. We'll lose the heavy snow coming in and certainly no more violent winds. So yeah, things calming down for Saturday. Then on Sunday, we do need to watch another weather system coming in. That will bring a mixture of rain with some snow on it. Now, the snow for this is going to be further north. So we're looking at Northern England and Scotland, mostly over hills, particularly for Northern England, but there could be some at low levels as well. So that is another watch point on Sunday. Once that's out of the way, it brings milder air. So next week, we're back to milder, we're back to more rain, that kind of stuff. The more typical wintry weather, if you like. So things calming down a bit, but there's still a few things to watch out for.
All right, Alex Deakin, thank you so much for putting us in the picture. Thanks for joining us on GB News Breakfast.